Hello guys, here is Anna, and this is the last video of a week of videos that I did for the first time on my channel. It was a very intense but interesting week, and thank you for staying with me, thank you for watching my videos. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for leaving the comments and questions. And today's video is just questions and answers, so let's get straight into it. The first question is from Andres Gunter. Hello, Andres. What characteristics do you like to have on a piano to get your best? Heavier light action, mellow, bold, bright sound, and so on. So the thing is, I think that different pianos are good for different music styles. So for example, when I play Baroque music, I like that the piano is not that light, so rather heavy, and that it's very bright. And when I play classics, I would say that I prefer that it's rather light but also quite bright, you know what I mean? And so on. Like for example, for modern music, I wouldn't like to have a very heavy piano because modern music is usually quite technically challenging, and romantic music I wouldn't like to have such a bright piano because I would rather prefer to have it like on a soft level of sound. So I think different pianos are just good for different styles of music, but obviously you almost never have a choice to choose a piano, so you just work with what you have, unless maybe you are on a competition with a few piano choices. And another question also from Andres: what is your preferred music style, not composer? I really enjoy playing different styles, but I would say when I play classics, I feel like being at home. So I would say, yeah, classical period, definitely, like Mozart, Beethoven, maybe early classics, like Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach. But yes, it's definitely classics. And the second place would go for Baroque music. And another question from him: when you prepare for a piano concerto, do you practice with the orchestra soundtrack or a fellow pianist playing the reduction, or do you prefer not to? What are your thoughts, experiences on that? So you're right, there are two possibilities to practice a concerto. So you can practice with a second pianist who will play an orchestra part, and you can practice just with a recording. But I would say, I think it's almost impossible to prepare a concerto well if you don't have a second pianist to play for you, at least maybe for like 2-3 times, or maybe like one time if you're already on a very good level. But recordings are also good. I think it's totally okay. I mean, you shouldn't do that like every time you practice, like play with a recording, but you can do it maybe also a couple of times. But I think to play with a second pianist is much better. And I don't think it's possible to prepare a concerto when you don't do anything from these two possibilities. A question from Zach Adams: if you were to learn a string instrument, what would you choose, and what is your favorite repertoire on that instrument? Well, I said on my video 50 facts about me that I played violin for 3 years, and actually if I would have possibility just to play it for myself, like to do something for myself, maybe I would learn, yeah, just how to play violin. But honestly, I wouldn't mind to learn any instrument just for myself because it's fun and it's interesting. And what about favorite repertoire? Well, I don't really think I have favorite repertoire for violin. I don't know. I honestly would enjoy playing anything because I can hardly imagine myself playing another instrument. So already if I would make it to play another instrument, like I would be happy about any piece. And then many people asked me, why do I play here on an electronic mode of my piano, and why does the sound come from those boxes? Well, the reason for that is I have this Yamaha piano at home. I rent it, it's not my piano, and it has both. Yeah, it's like a normal acoustic baby grand, but it also has an electronic mode. And Because I live in a big house with lots of flats, and especially now everybody is at home, so I just cannot really practice a piece like Tchaikovsky concerto for some hours on playing like two fortes. So when I switched it to electronic mode, basically almost nobody hears it, because it's, you know, like electronic sound doesn't have a reverb, I guess that's the right word, so it's not that hearable, like through the walls especially. Then Noira 13, Noira, I don't know how do you pronounce that, sorry. She has a really urgent question. I'm having real troubles with practicing fast passages that need to be played with a soft touch, because my piano, a vertical one, is very old and the keys are not balanced anymore. But at the same time, with this hard situation in these days, I don't have nor the economical resources nor the possibility to get them repaired. I'm really suffering and becoming frustrated, because it's really hard to practice when the instrument is not doing his work properly. Do you have any advice? How can I deal with this situation? Well, first of all, I should tell you, again, this is the fact that I told in the video 50 facts about me, but when I was between 19 and 24, I lived in Moscow and I studied in the Gnesins Academy of Music in Moscow, and I would say 90% of students just lived in the dormitory from this academy. It was for free, because it's almost impossible to rent anything in Moscow. It's a crazy expensive city. And yeah, we just all lived in that dormitory, and I had a, well, I cannot say it was a bad piano. It was the worst piano you could probably imagine. It was a very old Russian upright piano that I had in that room where I lived. We lived like 4 girls together in the room. The room was around 15 to 20 square meters. We had 1 toilet on the whole floor with lots of rooms, and we had 1 shower for 12 floors. I'm just saying that because, I mean, sometimes in life we have circumstances like that, and I can understand that it can be very frustrating, but I think you should generally be thankful that you have a piano at home, because I guess also many students don't have anything right now. Like, for example, I know a lot of colleagues of mine, like students as well, well, they never had a piano at home, and some of them only have an electronic piano. So I think, I mean, you cannot really do anything in this situation, so just try to think positive about that. Yeah, that's basically the advice I can give you. I mean, it's already good that you have a piano, and I think that all the exams will be now anyways postponed because of the situation, so I don't think you should stress yourself too much about that, and just do your best on the piano you have. John Corban is asking, has it been challenging to release a new YouTube video every day? Yes, absolutely. It was very challenging. So I spent every day almost like 5 hours just filming and editing and uploading the videos, but it was interesting. It was just a new experience for me, and I should say, if we stay longer in this quarantine, I probably will do once again such a week of videos. I cannot promise, but maybe I will do it again. So yeah, it was challenging but interesting. Would chamber music or collaborating with others solos be of possible future interest? Absolutely, yeah. It's actually one of my goals. I really want to have a stable chamber music group, to have not only a solo career but also a career with them, but so far it didn't work because of many different reasons. I won't talk about that now, but yes, absolutely, I love working with other people. Is it unusual or usual for you to get to decide on concert repertoire? Yes, I mean, I basically so far decide always by myself on my concert repertoire. Sometimes you get some preferences from the concert organizers, but most of the time you decide by yourself. If the Tchaikovsky concerto gets rescheduled, any idea if the conductor will let you choose tempos? Yes, a soloist always chooses the tempos. And then I have a question from Stephen Ferrer. He's asking, I just started playing piano 2 years ago, 18 years old that time, before I entered conservatory, and I'm wondering if it's still possible for me to be a concert pianist even if I started so late. And yeah, then he just explains his life situation. So I get very often questions where people ask me about advice, like on their life choices and on their life situation. And I should say, this is something I cannot really judge on, and I also cannot take the responsibility for people's life choices, especially when it comes to career. What I would definitely advise you is, well, you are writing, you are in the conservatory, so I would say this is something you have to decide with your teacher or with your professor. Like, are there possibilities for you to be on the stage as a pianist, though you entered a conservatory that late? I mean, of course it's late, like you should also understand that sometimes there are kids starting playing an instrument at the age of 9, 10, and it's already sometimes too late, because imagine like how many good pianists or other instrumentalists there are at the age of 10. Some of them already play the repertoire of like adult people. At the same time, I think if you not only consider yourself as a solo pianist, but maybe there are possibilities in your country to be a, let's say, an accompagnator maybe for singers or for other instruments. Of course, you can become a good piano teacher, like maybe working with kids, or maybe you can organize some other projects that are connected with piano or with music in general. We always need such people, you know. So generally, I think you should talk to your professor about that, but I also don't want to give you like a hope telling you that, yes, of course, just go for it and practice hard and you will get as good as somebody who started playing piano at the age of 4 or 5 and somebody who won already some huge competitions at your age. So I think if you really love piano music or music in general, you can just find your own way in this world. And then there are 2 questions from the Instagram. The first one is, how did you become a concert pianist? Have you found a manager or did you have to win any competition? How do you stay ready for a concert? I mean, how can you maintain at a high level all of the pieces from your repertoire? Well, about first 2 questions, I already answered in my first Q&A video. I will link it in the description box down below so you can check it out. And about how you can basically like, yeah, practice a huge repertoire and keep it on a good level. You don't practice all the pieces you have to prepare, let's say, for the next month in one day. Yeah, you just, like, for example, if you have a repertoire of 2 hours to prepare, today you practice 40 minutes of this repertoire and tomorrow you practice other 40 minutes and the third day you can maybe, I don't know, make a day free. So even if you have a huge repertoire, usually it doesn't mean that you practice everything at once. It's just not possible, and such things usually come just with experience. And another question from Instagram: for high school students who are under great pressure, how to keep effectively and keep their enthusiasm for practice? So I guess if you're asking about high school, as I understand, piano or music in general is not your main subject, so you have to concentrate on the subjects that you have at school. When you just come after high school, if it's your goal and your preference to practice piano and to play on a very good level, then you should basically start practicing piano right after your school. But if playing piano is your hobby, then just leave it for the evening and start with your homework for your high school. And well, how to keep the motivation? First of all, I think you should rest from time to time. You should take maybe a day free, and because if you just work all the time, it won't be possible to keep your motivation. So guys, I hope I answered all the questions that I got asked this week, and if you didn't find an answer to your question, you can also check a video that is called 50 Facts About Me and my first Q&A, or maybe I already answered your questions in just some other videos. And yeah, again, thank you for being with me during this week. It was my pleasure, and yeah, see you again soon guys, and goodbye.